Well, here it is. It's out today. Another new release on the channel. We're going to show you this one on the bench, and we're also going to fly it together. So we're going to fly it today on a DJI 03. And you know, what's different about this one versus the original? We're going to talk about some of the beefed up characteristics of the frame, and it has the downward facing motors. This is another little 2-inch ripper, or something that you can fly in the house for real estate style videos. We're talking a lot lately about indoor videos for real estate companies to be able to have a single shot fly through. I will show you one coming up on the channel of a dentist office that I did with something very similar to this, but this is a great little quad for making money indoors. So if you're looking for some kind of way to make extra money, indoor fly-throughs are pretty lucrative these days, and a lot of companies need them, but there's not a lot of people using these for that. So this is a great way to get a really unique shot and go places you can't normally go with something like a Cinewhoop sized digital HD 4K stabilized onboard footage quad. So pretty cool. I have a lot to say about it, I know, as always, but I just want to go ahead and jump right to the flying for you, and then we'll come back on the bench. I'll show you the brand new lava batteries as well that BetaFpv sent me. These are the 3S 550s. So expect some good power out of a 3S 550. We'll see what the flight time is too. Let's go ahead and fly, and then we'll talk about it.
Feel it. Feel it. Rage, power. Rage, money, power, and money, power, and feel it, rage, power, weakest force, money driven, major fraud, breathless body, diamond bones, wanna be it, wanna feel it, rage, power, weakest force, money driven, major fraud, breathless body, diamond bones, wanna be it, wanna feel it.
Wow, how about that for a flight test? I have to say the freestyle capability of this surprised me. It is way more than the original Pavo 20 was getting me out in the backyard. It's probably some of the fastest flying that I've done yet. minus something like a 65 millimeter tiny whoop. And I was afraid that I would end up in the neighbor's backyard with this thing, because it would, even with a little bit of camera tilt, this baby wants to really freestyle super fast. And this is the kind of camera tilt that we were looking at back there. Right now you can probably see, like, it looks like about maybe 20 degrees tilt. I wasn't even full tilt. You could probably go all the way up to 35 degrees. Right here, if you really had a big open field, you could cover a lot of ground really quickly outdoors with this quad. But there was a little bit of waggle at the bottom end of some of those big power loops and things that I was doing by the grapevines. The first power loop I did was way over the top, came up too high, had to kind of slow myself down and come back around the yard. Learning throttle management with this in the backyard was something that, like, took me some time to figure out where the sweet spot was to still maintain control without getting out of control with so much extra power on this quad. So it is very fast if you decide to start tilting the camera up. I was able to fly indoors by bringing the camera all the way down to level. And you could kind of notice in my video when I was first starting my indoor flight and my outdoor flight that I was doing kind of a lot of throttle hopping, which is just a little bit of throttle makes a lot of vertical movement with the quad. So a lot of altitude change and adjustment. Until I figured out where that sweet spot was on the throttle, it took me a while to figure it out, because it definitely does have more power than I was even ready for. So it's definitely, coming true to its name for the Pro Edition by giving us definitely the first impression more power. So the quad only with the O3 on board scale weight is 108.2 grams. Now with the battery that they recommend, the 3S550, and the final takeoff weight with the battery on board would be 150.9 grams. And BetaFpv includes a strap on it, which I find much better than the TPU prints for these style batteries. I'm just not a fan of using TPU prints, because when you have different size batteries, you will say you want to fly a 750, it won't fit in that TPU mount. But these are nice because they work with all different types of batteries, from the small to the big ones. Just underneath this strap, I have my TBS Crossfire Nano antenna receiver right here, and my antenna going out the front, as well as my XT30 back here. We've got dipoles, that brand new cage up over the top with the O3 there, and quite a nice carbon frame. And a little bit closer up, and you can see this 3K carbon fiber here. It looks pretty nice. They have sidebar bracing. And if we look a little closer underneath at the flight controller itself, you can see the AIO flight controller in there with the motor plugs. So it does have no solder plug and play motor, replaceable motor option on here, which is really nice for the new guys. So if you break a motor, no problem, plug in a new one, make sure it's rotating the right direction. And speaking of direction, it looks like we have traditional right turn rear type propeller setup. So typically with a lot of the Cinewhoops, I see the props out in the front type of reversed layout in Betaflight, but this one is traditional right turn rear. And also on the bottom, again, we have the downward facing props, downward facing motors, and we have push on props. So this looks like a different type of design. If we look at this a little bit closer, you can see that the center is hollowed out, and it looks like a pretty nice thick, maybe 2 millimeter shaft on this motor. And let's take a little closer look at these motors and see if I can see this. There are the lava motors, and let's see if we can zoom into the size and the kV. It's 1104 7200 kV. It's got a little bit of a red anodized pinstripe around the top of the motor. It's got the M2 bolts in the bottom, and from the top, looks like we also have some almost like a copper color on the top. Looks like red on the side, but it's actually that same copper color. Those motors look pretty sharp. So a lot of the lava branding has that orange in it, so I'm not surprised to see that sort of color repeated with the lava motors too. They also make an ELRS version of this if you wanted to get the ELRS version, and I'm guessing somewhere around the $400 price point on this quad is probably what we're looking at. And you honestly can fly it just like this. You wouldn't have to put a decased GoPro on top. I've talked to some people that do real estate videos for single shot fly-throughs, and I tell them you can use it as a backup. That way, if you forget to press record on this camera, that you have a backup on top. So that's kind of a good option to do. But overall, I feel like the flight performance inside, you could dial the rates back and have this be a nice little indoor real estate type drone. The 3S is definitely going to get you a little longer flight time, in the 4 to 5 minute flight time. If you want to put a bigger battery on there, I suggest the 3S 750 milliamp to 850 milliamp, even for indoor long flights. If you're somebody who's doing real estate, you can try out the 750s first and see if those get you 5 to 6 minutes per battery. And again, they're much cheaper than Avata 2 batteries, so this is a nice option. And if you're already flying an Avata 2 for indoor real estate videos, you can use something like this as a backup, just something extra to keep in your car on a video shoot. But they are quite fun to freestyle too. So they will cinema, and this one will absolutely freestyle. Just blown away with the way this one flew. Mine came without the 03, so I added my own 03, you guys, and it probably took me about 20 minutes, because when this comes to you inside the box, it comes with the bare shell. This top plate is removed, and all you have to do is plug in your 03 back here. There's a harness that plugs in back here. You run your dipole antennas up here, and they actually give you some dipoles in the box, which mine already had some on it, so I just used what I had there, and I'll show you in the box. You can also do the Cobb style LEDs with this, run them around the perimeter of the quad, plug those in, and these are the dipoles. The dipoles are a little bit shorter than what I had, which these would have been nicer. And to access the USB to BetaFlight, you need this little converter right here. It plugs into the very back port right there, and bam, you're inside BetaFlight. We also have some more hardware here, and the bolts go up through the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, to hold on this top plate. And it is a plastic top plate, but pretty durable. And I'm wondering how much this design, if at all, did change from the original Pavo. It does still say Pavo on the side right there. Looks like it might be the same frame. And then also in the box we get some QR codes for support and a knowledge base there, and their Instagram. Some extra props here. So it does appear that these are Gem Fan props, but they are made for BetaFpv for the Pavo 20. And these are 2-inch tri-blade props with a pretty medium wide cord to it, and a little bit of tapered bullnose tip right here. And that should give you pretty good punch. So it does give it extra speed with that style prop. You could try out some different props if you want it to be a little slower, or have a little more, say, long flight time. You reduce the core of the prop, it should give a little bit less amp draw. But everything fits back in the box, so if you wanted to use this as a case, you can fit everything back in the box just like that. But I will be installing my Cobb LEDs as well, because I think these will be nice on here. They just plug into a 5-volt option coming from the flight controller. And that is pretty much all there is on the Pavo 20 Pro. It's pretty easy to build up. Yeah, 20 minutes. And I have to say, I feel like this one is 3 times the freestyle capability of the original one. So if you're looking for something that is a small quad that you can fly indoors with HD, DJI HD, this one will fly indoors or outdoors. Epic freestyle. The fastest freestyle in the backyard at this size I've ever flown. So thumbs up to BetaFpv for another cool Pavo design. I think they're doing pretty well with the Pavo design. It's robust and it's crashable. So you can crash this one and bash it and do some freestyle. So yeah, the best of both worlds in durability. It's a good quad. But I appreciate you again as watching these reviews, and again, I'll bring you more drone truths and reviews and drone news on the channel. If you guys stick around and do subscribe, push that subscribe button and like this video, because YouTube doesn't like FPV videos these days. So I appreciate the like and the comments. So let me know what you think about this one down below, and I will see you on the next one, my friend.